At 40, as Deborah was mentioning, I created and pursued the intention to make a living in the theater. And I can assure you, I couldn't have predicted it looks the way it looks today. You know, celebrating 22 years, being a part of this extraordinary community of theater artists, of which I'm honored to be a part, and grateful that I have found a specific path in this domain that allows me to support my clients in building bridges and connecting to potential and unique audiences. As Deborah pointed out, I had a visit by an 8mm tumor that I named Klondike in June of last year. But through my medical team, the power of this community, and my own sort of just intention and grounded meditative practice, he took leave in December permanently. But the one thing that he left me was this gift, this profound understanding of being connected and being part of a much greater community. And you know, it is profound to understand that no matter how challenged we are, we have the choice of how to deal with and be with those challenges. We get to write our own story. We get to create our own narrative. And I choose to believe that nothing is random. We are all connected, and we simply need to be willing to look at those moments of connectedness in all our situations and circumstances that come our way.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here today to celebrate Raul. His family is here today, including his mom, Fanny. There she is. I'm sure many of you have heard Raul talk about Fanny often. That audio was part of his acceptance speech for the Henry Ong Award for Outstanding Leadership in the Los Angeles theater community from Playwrights Arena. He was so very grateful. It was only a week later that he found out that the cancer had metastasized. It was a super high to a super low for him, but he did bounce back. Even though it was a tough year after that, he remained his very optimistic self, appreciating humor right up to the end. Raul loved his job more than anyone I've ever known. He worked until he literally couldn't work anymore. It kept his life meaningful, even in dark times. You might have noticed that we reserved a seat for him today. He wouldn't have it any other way. Several times I asked Raul what he might like this day to be like. He would only say that he didn't want any kind of traditional funeral, that he would just want some folks to get together and have some fun. I can assure you that he had no expectation that this would be that get-together. But you know he would absolutely love this. He would be humbled and tremendously honored and thankful. So let's have some fun today as we honor him, miss him, appreciate him, love him, and even poke some fun at him. I even miss being told which parking spot to park in when there was clearly only one space in the entire parking lot. Before I finish, I want to take a moment to thank the Center Theater Group for being so generous and helping to make this happen today here at the Kirk Douglas Theater. I also have tremendous thanks to all of the other individuals who made time in their lives and worked so hard to help us be here today and celebrate our guy. I'll see you in the lobby in about an hour for some light bites, beverages, and a lot of reminiscing. Next up is Raul's longtime and cherished close friend, Deborah DeLiso.
That was a beautiful speech, Steve, who stayed by Raul's side for many, many of the last years. Not easy. Hello, family. Hello, friends. My name's Deborah DeLiso, and other than Mary, who I think was Raul's prom date, I may be the oldest friend here. Yes. In the mid-1970s, I was putting myself through college waiting tables at Luminaria's restaurant in Monterey Park. A sweet, affectionate woman, Fanny, was the cashier. I had missed my mom, and Fanny became my mom. Mija, how are you today? I had somebody, I had family. And she introduced me to her 17-year-old son, Raul. His eyes lit up when I told him that I was a theater major at Cal State LA. Oh, really? I love the theater. Barbara Masters was my middle school theater teacher. I said, Barbara Masters? She played Miss Reardon in the very first play I ever directed, and we bonded. Raul's eyes had the energy of passionate mischief, and immediately we knew we'd find some good trouble to get into. Those stories I'm not going to be sharing with you all today, but we knew each other's secrets, let me put it that way. Raul made me feel like a movie star, not a trashy B-movie star, after getting a supporting lead role in the Slumber Party Massacre. Deborah, but the script is by Rita Mae Brown. That's so cool. Raul was a keeper. He was thrilled when he got a job as an organizer planning outdoor festivals for Spanish radio stations. Then with his excellent computer skills, he got into the IT world. After some research, he found Eva Legalion's National Play Award and that it had been abandoned. Raul single-handedly began reviving the organization. He brought in his theater friends as readers, and some of you are probably here. We spent hours culling through stacks of plays at Fanny and Raul's house in the Rampart area where they fostered many, many teen children. I knew Raul wasn't happy in IT, and it was with him I was with him when he got a phone call at Fanny's house from Dallas. He turned down a $100,000 a year job, and he turned to me, he hung up the phone, and he cried, and he goes, Deborah, I just did that. In 2001, he did it because he wanted to spend the rest of his life doing theater, and he did, guys. In 2001, we had the opportunity to work together on building a production. I was teaching at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and a distinguished guest director approached me and said, aren't you the person that directs solo plays? And I said, yes. I said, you look familiar. Do I know you? He says, well, I've been on many television shows, so you may remember The High Chaparral. I completely turned red, and I said, oh my God, I was in love with you, Manolito. And he said, a friend of mine wrote a play for me. It was about Cervantes. And I immediately called Raul, and I said, we have an opportunity. He said, Deborah, you have to direct this. And so Raul produced with Espinoza Theatricals a beautiful production, amazing set design. And unfortunately, it opened the week of 9/11. So the show did not go on, unfortunately. But Raul had established Espinoza Theatricals, and our next production was The Verses of Ogden Nash, which we helped open the studio theater at the Coronet. Raul, holding his clear intention to make a living in theater, helped produce the Garland Awards and was also hired to serve the Center Theater Group for many years, and you'll hear about that from Luis next. Raul and I went on to working together on 2 more premieres, Becoming Norman and Cocktails, 17 male monologues about their sexual experience, and it ran for 10 months. It was a damn good show. Being an inspiration for each other in work, in life, we were also great travel buddies. But in 2005, Raul got very sick. He was down to 129 pounds with full-blown AIDS. I remember so clearly Raul finding such inner strength. He had never been a religious person, but this chapter awakened in him deep spiritual introspection. I asked him to join an autobiographical writing workshop, and he started telling us about his childhood in Ecuador. His mom, very strong, Fanny, had left Raul's dad when she discovered that they weren't his only family. Fanny left Ecuador when Raul was 2.5 to come to Los Angeles to create a better life for her and her family. Raul showed me a picture, a little photo of himself once in an airport with a wet spot on the front of his trousers. He hadn't seen his mom for almost 3 years, and she had come to get him. That must have been a traumatic moment for both mom and child, but they were reunited, and Raul has been there with her for so many years, helping her, and she helping him. But Raul was resilient and had always been a bridge builder. He lived in the joy of being a connector, and he always found ways to thrive and make himself healthy once again. I still see Raul's indomitable spirit in this room right now. Look at this gathering. Look at what he accomplished just by bringing us all here today.
Repitan. Vaya a McDonald's, compré una shrimp salad u otra ensalada grande.
Vaya a McDonald's y compre una shrimp salad u otra ensalada grande.
Escoja una hamburguesa con queso, un filet o fish sandwich o 6 piezas de McNuggets gratis. Gratis. Compre una de estas.
Compre una de esas.
Obtenga uno de estos gratis.
Obtenga uno de estos gratis.
How do you follow that? Huh? I am a terrible communicator. On a simple search of the 55,000 or so emails that I keep in my archive, for just a moment like this, I see that Raul Espinoza wrote me a very simple note a year ago. 4 words, all in lowercase and filled with feeling. I love you, Luisito. I kept it in my computer because it seems a kind of declaration we do not do often enough with each other. I love you, Luisito. The kind of declaration we make in plays and in art. And Raul is an artist, an actor, and during his time on this planet in this mortal body, many, many other things, who is now performing on another plane. That stage has no wings because the actor is wearing them. The body may have left, but the spirit very much remains the same, at least inside of us. You are a memory that is a body that is moving in space, and I see you so clearly in my mind. I see the clean-shaven head, the bushy eyebrows, and that expression, always surprised, or delighted, or amazed, or in the perpetual state of possibility. Many of us know Raul from many parts of his life. I am happy to say that I met Raul here, in a place like this, and in this place too, in the theater, the sanctuary, our church space, the gathering place for all the black sheep folk who live in this world. That's right. We are the outsiders, the nerds, the folks with a slightly different point of view than everybody else. The always happy, except when we're crying, of course. The ones who are always filled with such inquiry, with such desire to show the world itself. That we meet in the theater, our safe space, where we can be our most expressive, emotive, and ridiculous selves. I met Raul at the Mark Taper Forum when I was producing theater. His expertise, outreach, and audience development. He helped build a community for hundreds of readings, workshops, and productions that Diane Rodriguez, rest in peace, and I produced through the Latino Theater Initiative at the Taper. Lord knows Raul did not have the easiest of jobs, but it was one of those jobs that one must love people to do. You must want to meet and fall in love with people repeatedly to get them to the theater. I would say that Raul kept falling in love with humanity each time I saw him doing his work. His exhilaration at a sold-out opening night or on a show that nobody thought they wanted or needed and ended up loving were markers of when he was most happy at the Taper. It was also a terrible job because we producers all had a person to pinpoint our "why aren't they coming" woes on. There was nothing better than Raul coming into my office after a weekend of previews for a show that wasn't selling. While I nagged him for his perceived failings, he would give me one of his ridiculous poetic analyses. Folks, I can bring people to water, but was there water there? A few years ago, I was reading an article online about Raul and his journey that I never knew about. He stated, "I left Dallas in November 1999 with a commitment to make my living back home in LA in the theater scene. My life became absolute immersion in everything theater for the next 2 years. I met a lot of key people, joined the LA Stage Alliance, volunteered with the Ovation Awards. A few years later, I got an opportunity as a marketing consultant for Luis Alfaro's play Black Butterfly at the Taper, reaching out to the Latinx community, and I found my calling." I never knew that. He never told me that. I created a play with 3 Chicana poets from East LA, Alma Cervantes, Sandra Munoz, and Marisela Norte. A play about a young woman who yearns to be an artist, not realizing that you don't become an artist, you are simply born one. Whether you practice it or not is up to you. Raul is now the practice of being art. Yes, he has become the work, the essence, the memory, the idea, the representation of something beautiful, pure, powerful. I see you in my dreams. I love you, Luisito. Often in our job, we would join Raul in an all-day community fair or board meetings, going to shake hands with elected officials, handing out flyers in the neighborhood, getting people to come enjoy theater, or simply discover it for the first time. I don't know how Raul managed to coordinate so many people investing and buying into a group sale on a product they knew nothing about, but he did, and often. Such as these moments go, I have a beautiful memory of Diane and I going off with Raul on a day, cultivating relationships with folks we wanted to connect to the theater. Often these folks had nothing to do with our art form, but we were convinced they might benefit from the experience. We went out far and wide and ended up in an elected representative's field office out somewhere in El Monte. We had already had a full morning of driving and meetings. We stopped for lunch at a little family restaurant. The conversation turned to spirituality and faith and kind of stayed there all day. We would pick up pieces of a thought between our afternoon commitments. The day kept going. And at some point, it was 6:30 at night. And Raul said, "You guys, it's almost time to eat again. Let's finish this conversation over dinner and everyone come up with a final thought." I couldn't believe we had spent the whole day together, and more surprisingly, centered on one subject, spirituality. Of course, we couldn't get to a simplified thought or idea, but I will never forget that day and how close we got to our individual notions of what God, faith, belief, spirit, and endurance are. I say this now because this is what Raul is, a spirit. A generous, gentle, and enthusiastic soul who lived fully in his life and on this plane with all the joys, heartbreaks, and concerns that swirled around him. Even in his last missives on Facebook, he seemed to embrace the things that were good. Friends, it's time for an update. And that smile on his face when he said, I am going home. Yes, you have. You have gone home, my friend. You are memory. That is a body that is moving in space, and I see you so clearly in my mind. I love you, Raulito, and we will see each other again in the other plane.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Teresa Chavez, producing artistic director of About Productions. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this special ceremony, ritual, theatrical moment. And it's an honor to be here with his family, his friends, and all of our theatrical colleagues. The poet Rumi spoke of love as a force. The love Raul had for theater was a force so great that he left a lucrative tech job in Texas to travel back to LA to create a life in theater and create a small marketing company that would allow him to serve LA theater companies and LA theater artists. Now that would be an absurd idea, even to those of us who are fully committed to working in this often absurd environment. About Productions had the honor to work with Raul for 23 years. We create original theater works, and each piece has a logic of its own, developed over a few years in a collaborative process and a singular interdisciplinary approach. When I would have an initial meeting with Raul to discuss a new work, he would always enthusiastically jump on board and immediately begin brainstorming, ideas flowing out of him at a rapid pace. I could see the wheels turning. He would practically jump out of his seat with a desire to get to work, to consider our artistic strategies and how they could align with his ideas to share our work with our community and seek new audiences. Who should we reach out to, and how does our work align with other theater companies? That alignment effort was one of his superpowers. He was one of the few who truly practiced cross-marketing, not only as a way to build audiences, but to create a web around LA theaters. Like a theatrical Spider-Man, he would spin fine silk in an attempt to build a fragile network that in a best-case scenario could lift all companies. And like a spider, he never ran out of silk until the very end. His profound love always guiding him. His last and only theater project for the past year was working on our Adobe Punk production, both the concert version in the spring of '24, which he attended many times, and the full production remount this past spring, which he was unable to attend at all. That's how sick and uncomfortable he was. He couldn't even come to the theater, and we all know how deeply that affected him. But his commitment never waned, and our weekly marketing meetings on Zoom were filled with passion and his curiosity on how our creative process was going. He actually said that working on Adobe Punk was keeping him going and keeping him vital and alive. And despite his weight loss, week after week, we could actually see him glow, his heart and mind still singing as he schemed up new ways to enrich our community and expand the theatrical experience. He was our champion, and a champion for so many Latinx and other small, medium, and large performing arts companies. His passing is a huge loss for us,
and our entire community. But we will soldier on and endeavor to create great works in his memory. His sweet friendship and beauty will remain always in our hearts. But the question remains, what will we do without him? How will we move forward and build on his knowledge? It brings to mind the phrase, "You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it." I will continue to wrap my head around this idea and welcome any thoughts on how to create a bridge between Raul's passing and our collective theatrical future. And with that, I would like to close with another Rumi reflection on how Raul lived his life and how I believe he's living his death. Love is from the infinite and will remain until eternity. The seeker of love escapes both the chains of birth and the chains of death.
Raul, my brother, you are a shining light in the lives of Anita and myself. You showed us what enthusiasm and determination can accomplish. Thank you for admitting us to your circle of theatrical wonderment, beginning with your wise and generous high school mentor, Barbara. Thank you for sharing with us your Damascus Road moment when you decided to leave business in Texas and devote yourself wholeheartedly to the theater. Thank you for forcing me to confront my own fears about things theatrical. Thank you for the wonderful collaborations that grew from that shift at the BFA and elsewhere. Cumbia, Pedro Infante, Queen Lily Olokalani, hands-on therapy. To help see things through, you always knew the right person at just the right moment. Thank you for teaching us the humility of self-examination, how to follow through on inconvenient realizations and unexpected inner shifts. Thank you, dear Raul, for modeling for us what family loyalty means through all the ups and downs. Doña Fanny, bendito sea aquel día cuando usted se presentó en nuestras oficinas en Eco Park, dando así el primer paso de lo que ha resultado una amistad de décadas. Gracias, querida y apreciada amiga, por conectarnos con tu maravilloso hijo Raúl. Varias veces él nos platicó del momento en que bajó del avión que lo trajo desde Ecuador a Los Ángeles y se realizó su añorado sueño de ser abrazado una vez más por su adorada mamá. Amén. My beloved brother Raul, our lives are lighter and happier thanks to you. Even now, after this difficult goodbye, your light continues to lift and illuminate us. Gracias mil.
Es fácil con el alimento rápido que viene en cáscara. Huevos frescos de California son el mejor valor alimenticio por su dinero. Fríalos, cómalos como usted le guste. Coma huevos ya, que le hacen bien.
Good morning. I'm Raul's youngest brother, Omar. I remember when he was like in junior high school, there was a community center where he would practice practicing some plays, and walking home, he had all of us singing along with the songs that were from the play. And that's how we were all introduced into theater. And then I think during high school, he was actually Linus in a Peanuts play, which is cool because then later on he got into piano. So he played the piano, and it's just kind of clicking to me right now how him being Linus, led to to the piano. He, as my kids were getting older, he started to introduce my kids to the play. Some of the small theaters where we were having front row, and the actors are over there, like right in front of the kids, you know, touching their legs during the show, and the kids are like, "Did you see that? They touched my legs. They touched my legs." And it was so cool to see the expression on their faces. He introduced them to Toy Story, got involved into all of that stuff, and it was always something good to see. You know, when you guys are saying, "Hey, you know, when he went to work for Raul, work equaled play. He went to play, right? We call it work." And when you think of theater, Raul didn't work in theater. He was theater. You have the definition theater, you see Raul's picture. And he was just all in. He was in the zone all the time. We got to see him out in the lobby, and he was just working it left and right, telling us, "Hey, this is my mom, this is my nephew, this is my brother." Like, he was excited to introduce us to everybody. And then he introduced everybody to us as well. And that was great. During the time that he ended up getting sick, and this was funny when, you know, after the fact, right? So he hadn't seen my mom for a while because he didn't look healthy at all. And finally he says, "Hey, I want to go see mom." "All right, I'll be at the house." We're watching Titanic, my mom and I. Raul walks through the door. He's super skinny. And my mom, she's just like, "Oh my God, you know, you're so sick." And I'm sitting there calm, just kind of letting her have the moment. And Raul's kind of like this, like, "What do I do?" And I'm just like, "Shh, you know, don't say anything. Just let her have her moment." And then the moment came and went. They made up, and my mom was all happy to see him and stuff. And then after the fact, Raul says, "Did you know when mom lost it, the Titanic was sinking and all hell was breaking loose?" And I was like, "That's right." And it was so weird, like it almost like happened on purpose, right? So, you know, he was a clown all of the time. You know, when Steve came into the family, they had this whole thing going with the poop emoji, right? There was like a poop emoji blanket. There was a poop. Everything was about the poop emoji. And it was always like a comedy show at the house. He was just always clowning around, and it was so good to see that. And my mom tried to pretend she was upset, but she couldn't be upset. She would just laugh along. And one of the things I'll always be thankful to him. He had been away for some time. He lived, you know, in Dallas, Sacramento, and when he kind of came back to be in the area, he introduced me to this life coaching seminar, and I went to go see his completion night, and he was like, "What do you think? Are you going to do it?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it," because it was something that I was looking for. Didn't even know where to get it or where to find it, but it was this life coaching seminar that I signed up for. And that's when him and I became really, really close. We had a lot of profound conversations. He got really close to my kids. I always wanted that. Without that introduction, my life wouldn't be the way it is today. My whole family's here, my wife, my 2 kids. My son's girlfriend, my daughter's boyfriend's here as well. That's a big deal. And that's Raul's doing. That's what he did. And then Steve, he brought Steve to the family. He's still there. He took care of Raul. thought I was past this gut punch. You know, being here, it's like a kid's in that chair. Just want to end this with thank you, Steve, for taking care of my brother. We'll forever be grateful. Thank you.
Up there is Linda Casto and Linda Danksel. I'm not Linda Danksel. I'm Linda Casto. And I'm here to represent, as thank you, Deborah, reminded me this morning. I'm here to represent because I knew and loved Raul, not as long as his family, maybe not as long as Deborah, but for over 40 years. I'm a grandmother today, and he met me as a teenager, so that was a long time ago. Raul entered my family's life as a fan. I swear, that's how it seemed. He walked into our house and started telling me how wonderful my mother, Linda Danksel, was. And I was like, who is this boy and why is he here? And then he was ubiquitous. He never left. He was at every birthday, every holiday, and he was now our family. And thank God. Thank God. So I didn't always understand it. But what I realized later was that I was watching two people start a soul contract, my mother and Raul. I believe they met working on a play together. What I saw was he was not only my mother's biggest fan, my mother was his biggest fan. She saw his potential. She appreciated his passions, and she was in his life, and she told him this to help him to remember who he was and to accomplish his dreams. And I believe Raul did. He went from an actor, gosh, these commercials are so wonderful, to a promoter, to a director, to an impresario, to Raul, right? To Raul. We used to laugh during midnight mass, y'all. Sorry, Mommy. But Raul was our pressure valve. Like, you know, holidays, everything would be stressful, and Raul would come in and be like, it's fine, just whip the whipping cream. It's gonna be fine. It's all fine. And I brought flan. You know? If you didn't taste Raul's flan in this lifetime, I hope you taste it in the next. It was everything. He was an honorary grandson who took my grandmother many nights to the theater. All right, I wasn't going to tell this, but I am. He single-handedly cured my late husband of his homophobia, y'all. My husband had grown up in the South and didn't feel like he knew gay men. I told him he was president of a fraternity. He knew a ton of gay men. But he never believed it. Anyway, Raul taught him that family is family and gay men are family, and that's just the way it is, and we went on. And he eventually even worked for my husband, briefly. He always expressed his love beautifully for art, for people, for work that he loved. Gosh, he loved his work. And he let his heart lead the way. This morning I was listening to a song. What's it all about, Alfie? And what it's about is love. It's about, the quote from the lyric is, he let his heart lead the way. He let his heart lead the way all through life, and he will be missed in this heart for the rest of my life. But I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion of how we keep him all with us, and it's an easy one. Every single time we go to the theater, we bring him with us, and we sit him in the seat next to us, and then we review the show after, because that was the best part of going to the show with Raul. And I know you know what I mean.
Omar, you're amazing. Thank you. Good. You could just see your brother in you. No one here has lost a brother as you have. So thank you for the fellowship and for the company and for your words. And I also believe your brother cured culture clash of its homophobia as well. He had this crazy idea that we would go promote a taper play in the most craziest of West LA nightclubs. Like, go, mijos, go. And we're like, there's a raging rave going on. My friend owns the club, don't worry. Get out there, mijos, go. And a stern stage auntie, mother, brother, uncle, but go. We're like, they are raging and raving, and we're going to do the Frank Wilkinson scene from Chavez Ravine. The hills of Chavez. He goes, they're going to love it. We're like, what if they don't love it? Get out there, go. And they liked it enough, you know? And I have to thank Raulito for putting me back on the big stage. It's been a few years since I've been on the big stage here. Thank you, Raulito. Yes, we're back. And I can make the 3 to 5 minute speech allotment if I leave my bio out of it. That'll help. But I love the showbiz befuddlement that we bring to even the most humble things like this. Like, you know, is there valet parking? No, you park under City Hall at Culver City, you know. Oh, is there craft services? Is there crafty? No, there's a box from Cinnabon over there. So, and a Trader Joe's over there. It's like, oh, darling, to be back on stage again. But I love it, and I love that he's brought us all together this morning. It's quite a roll call of Center Theater Group folks, and I wanted to mention a few of those names. About the time I was dating the development office, is that Eric Sims laughing? Yeah. This is pre-HR. I never saw them back then. It was, the Devo office was a collective, and I dated the entire office. But I got to know Yvonne and the crew. And Yvonne used to say, she ran development for years, and she would say, you know, we have so many galas and so many events a year, I can't enjoy going out to dinner anymore. And I said, why? Well, why on earth can you not enjoy going out? She goes, well, I'm always looking at my watch. And I'm always thinking the salad drop is 5 minutes late, you know? And it had that Wes Anderson urgency about it. The salad drop is 5 minutes late. And it made me think about today, like Raulito writing his own press release when he arrived up at the Pearlies, you know? And did he have fun? He probably had fun. And writing his, you know, latest CTG member joins family up in the pearly gates. I'll tell you why I'm thinking about that, because one time I came to Culver City in a 1970 Coupe de Ville golden Cadillac, and I went to Gordon's office. Gordon kept a little bungalow down the street. Gordon Davidson, Uncle Gordy, sure. And I go pick up Gordon in this 50-foot long boat with Miami colors, and it's kind of my lowrider. And I pick him up at his office, you know, books and boxes everywhere. He's still unpacking from his decades at Center Theater Group. And I pick him up, And we drive backwards, like in the Bronx Tale. I'm just backing up to the restaurant right over here. And Gordon was just laughing. It's like, you know, are there 5 bodies in the trunk? And I said, no, just 2 Salvadorans. And now ICE agents are locked in that trunk now. But I back up and I take Gordon, you know, to lunch, and he's just getting the biggest kick out of this mafiosi. Coupe de Ville, if you could imagine a 1970 Coupe de Ville. And that car comes to mind because we picked up Gordy, we picked up Adam Phelan, we picked up Bones Malone, we picked up Diane, we picked up Richard, one of the wonderful stage deckhands here at the Douglas, and now we pick up Raulito and his golden Cadillac, and we deliver them all to where they need to go. And this is part of the roll call. One time, Raul had arranged tickets for my father to come see, I believe, Water and Power at the Taper. And Raul was my last resort, because sometimes he could arrange some magic, you know. And he goes, so, and that kind of drawl he had, your father's a poet. How does that work? And I'm like, I've been trying to figure that out, Raulito. Like, I you know, he rhymes a bunch of shit, you know. And he goes, well, give me an example. And I'm like, well, I'm not a poet, but he's like, Richard is good. Richard is great. I haven't hugged him since the 3rd grade. He's like, mijo, that's your play right there, you know. And I said, well, let me explain. Let me read a very short poem for you, Raul, because he really was quite fascinated, and he saw the poetry work in our work, our decades-long conversations with the poets, the men and women, Manazar Gamboa, Leonardo Cervantes, Jose Montoya. It's a long list of poets. And I said, well, Raulito, let me read you this one little poem. So for our non-Latinx friends, and there's a few here today, I'll tell you that a moco is a booger, a moco, and a bigote is a mustache. So this is for Raul and familia. Hopefully a little bit of levity can help us. And it's a very, very short little poem. And I'll give this to you, Omar, on the way out, so you can share it with your familia. It's called a moco poem. Now it's yours. By Jose Montoya. And if you see a moco in my bigote, don't suffer my shame and don't punish me with silence. Tell me about it. And that was Raul shoving us on the West LA gay club's stage. Mijo, go, you've got a moco. Go dance, go do your thing. And so these are some of the memories and some of the great things as we see Raulito safely in his chariot, his carriage, and he's with Gordon, and he's with Adam, and he's with Sister Diane, and he's with Bones, and we think of all the lessons that we are learning now, and with this amazing familia here. So I'm going to say Raul, and you will say presente. Let's try this a few times in the shadow of Labor Day as we go to the labor event still happening later today. We'll be with Dolores. I'd like to tell Dolores about Raulito. And so I'm going to say Raul, and you say presente. Let's take the roof off the ceiling. So Raul! Presente! Raul! Presente! Raul! Presente! Por vida. Thank you for your fellowship.
Joven, hágame una hamburguesa, por favor. Ya se la hicimos. ¿Ya me hizo qué? Su hamburguesa. ¿Cuándo? Hace un rato. ¿Y si hubiera llegado hace un rato? Las de hace un rato, las hicimos un rato antes. Ahora me explico por qué sus hamburguesas saben a hace un rato.
En cambio, en Wendy's, las hamburguesas las hacemos en el momento que usted las pide y ningún momento antes. Por eso son más jugosas, más frescas. Piense fresco, piense en Wendy's.
Sigue andando el camino por toda su vida, respira. Y si pierdes mis huellas, que Dios te bendiga, respira.
This is my street, I smile at the faces I've known all my life. They regard me with pride. And everyone's sweet, they say you're going places. So how can I say that while I was away I had so much to hide? Hey guys, it's me, the biggest disappointment you know. The kid couldn't hack it, she's back and she's walking real slow.
Welcome home.
Just breathe.
Sigue andando el camino por toda su vida, respira.
Just breathe.
Si pierdes mis huellas, que Dios te bendiga, respira.
As the radio plays old forgotten boleros, I think of the days when the city was mine. I remember the praise, ay te adoro, te quiero. The neighborhood waved and said, Nina, be brave and you're gonna be fine. And maybe it's me, but it all seems like lifetimes ago. So what do I say to these faces that I used to know? Hey, I'm home.
Mira, niña,
Hey,
no me preocupo por
they're
ella.
not worried about me.
Mira, ahí está nuestra estrella.
They are counting on me to succeed.
Ella sí da la talla.
I am the one who made it out, the one who always made the grade. But maybe I should have just stayed home. When I was a child, I stayed wide awake, climbed to the highest place on every fire escape, restless to climb. I got every scholarship, saved every dollar, the first to go to college. How do I tell the story? I'm coming back home with my eyes on the horizon. Just me and GW. Asking Jamina, what'll you be? Straighten the spine, smile for the neighbors. Everything's fine, everything's cool. The standard reply, lots of tests, lots of papers. Smile, wave goodbye, and pray to the sky. Oh God, how do I dare to say? Can I go in there and say, I know that I'm letting you down?
Nina.
Just breathe.
¿Qué rayos están haciendo aquí con los desayunos? Jovencito, ¿para qué son esas lámparas? Para conservar desayuno bajo rayos X. No bajo rayos infrarrojos, lámparas de calor. Con razón se ven bronceaditos.
En cambio, en Wendy's, los desayunos se hacen cuando usted los ordena. Hay 4 tipos de omelets, sándwiches y pan francés.
Y no solo hay hamburguesas frescas, sino desayunos también. Estos de Wendy's son unos frescos.
Piense fresco, piense en Wendy's.
There's a place for us somewhere, a place for us. Peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us someday, a time for us, time together with time to spare, time to learn, time to care, someday. Somewhere we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving. There's a place for us, a time and place for us. Hold my hand and we're halfway there. Hold my hand and I'll take you there. Somehow, someday.
Jim Royce put that together. What a beautiful job. We have one more story to share with you. This is my daughter, Zan, and Raul was her funkle. And on the Sunday night, June 1st, we had been in close contact with Steve. When should we come? You know, is it a good week? Is it a good day? Should we be there? And I was in Wrightwood doing a senior's follies. I was in a can-can dress, and Zan had just finished working at the Renaissance Fair, and we were in our costume. But he got on the phone, and I said, okay, I'm not going to stay for a second act. We met from different places, and Steve was there to greet us and smiled and laughed at us in our costumes. And Zan's husband, Sean, was there, and their baby, River Soul. And we walked in, and Raul was laying in bed, barely breathing, but we sat on the bed right next to him. And I reached over to his hand, and he was able to squeeze. You know, he could hear. And I needed to say,
I think you did everything you needed to do, honey. I think you did it. And you changed so many lives, and how many thousands of people saw the theater because of you. And he would squeeze, so I knew he could hear this. And then Zan had the baby, and we put the baby right next to the bed. And he held the baby's foot for like 5 minutes. He was holding the baby's foot.
Yeah. That was my biggest worry. I've been so busy. I miss that man. I used to see him all the time when I lived in LA. So it was a big chunk of my life missing the last 5 years, living further away from him. And he wasn't able to, be there and see us get married, see my little baby yet. He hadn't even met her. So I was so thankful that I got there. And as soon as we got there, he didn't just hold our hands. He said, "I love you" to both of us.
Yeah.
He said that he was so excited to meet her. And then I asked him, "Can I sing you one last song?" And he said, "Yes, please."
And so Zan's going to share that song with all of you now.
So I'd like to share with you.
Thank you.
There's a saying old, says that love is blind. Still we're often told, seek and ye shall find. So I'm gonna seek a certain lad I've had in mind. Looking everywhere, haven't found him yet. He's the big affair I cannot forget. Only man I'll ever dream of with regret. I'd like to add his initials to my monogram. Tell me, where is the shepherd for this lost lamb? There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone to watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood, and I know I could always be good to one who will watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he'll carry the key. Won't you tell him please to put on speed, follow my lead. Oh, how I need someone to watch over
La lotería tiene un gran juego nuevo. Y usted podría ganar el premio instantáneo más grande que nunca, $100,000. Y sin hablar de los multimillones que se acumulan en el gran premio.
¿Quién me presta una moneda?
La Lotería de California. Gane en grande. Si usted no vio nuestro primer anuncio sobre el Grand Game, aquí se lo pasamos de nuevo. Usted puede ganar el gran premio acumulado de muchos millones y premios instantáneos hasta de $100,000. Y sabe, aún quedan muchos premios. Por eso, como quiera verlo, todavía puede ganar en grande. Así que levante sus boletos antes de que se acaben.
I just wanted to finish up with that little story. So after we sang him that song, my mom and I left, said goodbye to Raul and Steve, and we got the phone call that morning that he had let go. He had said goodbye. He had many people visit him that last week, and he finally was ready. Please come outside and join us, talk about all of your stories. Let's go bring his love and light into all of our conversations out there.
These are the moments that make us all connected. I'm so grateful to be a part of this community and in some way connected to each and every one of you. So thank you very much.
Life is just a bowl of cherries. Don't take it serious. Life's too mysterious. You work